Have you ever heard of a law that made you scratch your head in disbelief? Imagine being fined for forgetting your birthday or banned from wearing armor in Parliament. Strange as it sounds, these bizarre laws exist, and their origins are even more fascinating. But why were they created in the first place? Join us as we explore the weirdest laws around the world and unravel the surprising stories behind them. Laws are designed to maintain order, but sometimes they leave us questioning their logic. Around the world, we've come across some laws that seem, well, odd. From ancient regulations that reflect a different era to modern-day rules that defy common sense, these laws make us wonder, why do they exist? And what's the story behind them? Stay with us as we dive into some of the weirdest laws across the globe and uncover the historical and cultural contexts that gave rise to these quirky regulations. Let's start in the UK, where a centuries-old law states that it's illegal to wear a suit of armor inside Parliament. Yes, that's right. The image of knights in full armor attending Parliament may seem like something out of a medieval fantasy, but this law was created in 1313 to prevent armed knights from intimidating lawmakers. Although no one's rocking a full set of armor these days, the law remains in place. But what does it say about the era it was created in? Was this a time of constant fear of rebellion, or were there other factors in play? Next, let's visit Italy, the land of gelato. In the city of Florence, it's illegal to eat or drink while sitting on the steps of historical buildings. But why would such a restriction exist in a place known for its food? Turns out, it's all about preserving cultural heritage. After centuries of wear and tear from tourists, the city decided to implement this law to protect its iconic structures from being damaged by careless visitors. Could this be a reflection of how modern tourism clashes with historical preservation? Heading to Australia, we encounter a particularly unusual law. It's illegal to wear hot pink pants after midday on Sundays in Victoria. This law, while seemingly random, is a leftover relic of Victorian morality. It was likely aimed at maintaining a level of proper public decorum on Sundays, considered a holy day. But does this bizarre dress code still have any relevance today, or has it just become a quirky footnote in history? Japan, a country known for its unique customs, takes an interesting approach to health. In 2008, the country introduced the Metabo Law, which sets limits on the waistlines of adults aged 40 to 74. This law requires employers to ensure that their employees maintain a healthy waistline, with guidelines on how to achieve this. But why such a law? Japan's concern with rising health costs and the desire to tackle obesity head-on has led to this very specific legislation. While it may seem intrusive to some, it's part of Japan's commitment to improving public health. Does this make sense as a public health initiative, or is it a step too far? Switzerland has a reputation for cleanliness, but did you know it's illegal to flush the toilet after 10 p.m. in an apartment building? This law, rooted in the Swiss emphasis on respecting neighbors, exists to ensure peace and quiet during nighttime hours. But can we really call this fair? Is the inconvenience of holding off on flushing at night outweighed by the cultural value placed on peace in this pristine country? Singapore is known for its strict laws, but one of the most notorious is the ban on chewing gum. In 1992, the government banned gum to tackle the issue of gum littering the streets, especially on public transportation. The law remains in effect today, although there are exceptions for medicinal gum. But is such a ban necessary, or is it an overreaction? How does this fit into Singapore's broader efforts to maintain its image as one of the cleanest cities in the world? Over in France, a quirky law makes it illegal to name a pig Napoleon. Why? This traces back to the reverence for Napoleon Bonaparte, a national hero. Naming a pig after him was considered disrespectful. Even though this law feels outdated, it reflects the importance of historical figures in national identity. But is this law still relevant in today's France, or just an amusing remnant of the past? Canada's Apology Act. In Canada, there's a law that lets you say sorry without actually admitting guilt, known as the Apology Act. This law was passed in 2009 to allow people to apologize without it being seen as an admission of fault in legal cases. Canadians are known for being polite, and this law formalizes that reputation. But it raises the question, is this law necessary? Does it really change how people perceive responsibility in difficult situations? India's anti-drunk elephants law. India has its own set of unique laws, one of which is aimed at protecting elephants from consuming alcohol. In some areas, it's illegal to allow elephants to drink liquor. This law was enacted because drunk elephants often cause chaos, sometimes rampaging through villages. Elephants are an important part of Indian culture, but this law reflects how human behavior can directly impact these majestic creatures. Could this law be a sign of the balance India strives to maintain between tradition and modernity? Germany's pillow fights are assault. Let's take a trip to Germany, where a pillow is classified as a passive weapon. In fact, if you engage in a pillow fight and someone gets hurt, you could be charged with assault. This law might seem exaggerated, but it's part of Germany's strict personal injury laws. While the chances of being prosecuted for a pillow fight are slim, the existence of this law reminds us how different countries define personal responsibility and safety. Thailand's currency law. In Thailand, it's illegal to step on the national currency, the Thai baht. Why? Because it bears the image of the king, and stepping on it is considered disrespectful to the monarchy. Thailand holds its monarchy in high regard, and this law reflects the deep cultural respect they have for their royal family. But it makes you wonder, could such a law ever be enforced in other countries with different attitudes toward leadership? Denmark's baby naming law. Finally, we visit Denmark, where parents must choose from a pre-approved list of baby names. This law was put in place to prevent unusual or potentially harmful names from being given to children. If you want to name your baby something outside of this list, you'll need special permission from the government. While some see this as a way to protect children from bullying, others view it as limiting personal freedom. Does a name define us, or is it just a label? And should the government have a say in it? As we've seen, these laws may seem strange, but they all have roots in cultural, historical, or practical reasons. From protecting elephants in India to enforcing respect for the monarchy in Thailand, these quirky rules give us insight into how different societies function. So, what do these laws tell us about the world we live in today, and what other bizarre rules might be hiding in plain sight? Thanks for joining us on this journey. If you enjoyed this exploration into the world's weirdest laws, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more fascinating discoveries. Have a law in your country that seems out of place? Share it in the comments, and let's see how it compares to these global oddities. Stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring the world with us.